Yeah, so my name is Sue. I've been currently volunteering with CCMF for, I think it's coming up to 2 years. I actually heard about CCMF through a volunteer listing. It was kind of out of the blue because it was in the middle of the pandemic and I wanted to find an organization to volunteer with, and I kind of stumbled across CCMF initially. And I think it was what caught my eye was the mission. I think for me personally, it's really rare to come across an organization that specifically focuses on men's mental health issues and other issues. So I think that's why it really caught my eye and led me to apply. Even in my current other volunteer roles, I actually volunteer to help out a gender diverse night in the downtown east side, which lowers barriers for people living in the area that are gender diverse. And in that category, it does not include cis men. And I think it was just interesting to find an organization that focuses on that. And I think it's not something that is really present, at least in Vancouver, that I found. And it was really, I think I felt it was a good opportunity for me to experience the other perspective and kind of understand both sides of, hey, what are the men's specific issue and what are the women's specific issues? And I think for me, it was a way for me to formulate kind of an understanding of both sides. I'm currently actually coordinating the coaching program that's been new in Vancouver, and I was able to do that through a UBC grant that I received. And I initially expected to be going into doing more intake work. That's actually what I started with when I was volunteering with CCMF. But over the years, I think my role has changed a lot, and I've been kind of trying to find out what I really enjoy doing in the organization. And yeah, I think somehow I ended up in the position of being able to having the privilege of coordinating the coaching program, and it's been such a experience because in my intake role, I realized there was this gap in our organization that we weren't able to provide more specific and goal-oriented one-on-one support other than which was a little bit different than therapy. So I think there was what I where I got the motivation to pursue this program and get a grant from UBC and kind of create it as well. Yeah, I think personally what comes to my mind is when I was actually volunteering as a support group facilitator, the men's support group. And there I witnessed a lot of growth in the men I was working with. And I think for me, it was just being able to see like their mindset change and kind of get them out, the, seeing them get out of a dark place in their life and having that hope and having that confidence, and also being able to put that into action and say, hey, I'm a different person and I'm gonna act differently than how I would have before. And I think that's been so fulfilling as well, just to see that change and growth that's not only psychological, but also behaviorally as well. If someone asked me, hey, what was your experience? What has been your experience volunteering with CCMF? I think I would say all the volunteers I've worked with have always been so warm and kind. And I think that's just the nature of people who come into our organization. When you when you when you look into the organization, you realize that it has a really good mission and you're trying to help men who are struggling. I think you end up with a group of people that are very kind and supportive and compassionate. And I think whoever volunteers with us will find that as well. And it's just been such a fulfilling experience for me as well. And like I said, from the men who've changed, I think I've also learned so much from them just from hearing their stories and seeing them grow. I think that's also another aspect that they would expect to get from the role as well. Yeah, actually, I talk to it about it a lot with my friends, and I think it's such an I think for them it's an interesting project just because men's issues isn't something that we often talk about. It's kind of swept under the rug, and often I see, at least in the media now, that women's issues are very prominent, and I think have like being able to be in a place where I can say, "Hey, I created this program and we're supporting men out there who are struggling and having the same struggles that you do." I think it's just been such a fulfilling experience for me just to have those conversations and even just like have a discussion. Maybe they don't agree or see it the same as I do, but just having that discussion and opening up that conversation has also been, I think, another way of working with the organization.